Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome back to another edition of NBC's 10 Count. I'm Steve Fall. On today's episode, I'm talking to Vince Russo. I'm so excited. Vince, how you doing today?
I am doing okay, Steve. How are you?
This is a dream come true, talking to someone who pretty much shaped my childhood, so it's great to have you here because you had your hand as the head writer during the Attitude Era with people like Steve Austin, The Rock, Undertaker, DX. But it seems that everyone always wants to bring up the negative with you first. Why do you think that is? Is it possibly maybe jealousy?
No, I think it's because, listen, let's face it, the Attitude Era drew millions of casual wrestling fans. Casual wrestling fans tend to enjoy the entertainment aspect of wrestling, as do I. But these are not the people that go online. This is not the minority with the loudest voices. The minority with the loudest voices are the hardcore wrestling fans that don't want entertainment in their wrestling. They want straightforward, long, fake wrestling matches. So when somebody like me comes along where it was all about entertainment, and that's why we drew the masses, I'm hated because it's not their kind of wrestling. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, I guess that does sum it up because I think people are like, well, I want a 20-minute match. And the term I kept hearing for so long with you associated is crash TV.
Absolutely.
And honest to God, when I watch an episode of Raw from, 98, 99, I'm suddenly like, boom, boom, boom. I'm entertained the whole time because my attention span is being catered to.
That, this seriously, I'm holding up my remote control because at that time we were going head to head with WCW. And the way, I would write the show and me and Ed Ferrara would write the show seriously was like the viewer is watching our show. He's got the remote in his hand and he's daring us. Give me a minute to go check out WCW. Let me go see that's literally how we wrote the show, to not give the viewer one opportunity to go see what was on WCW. There was a sense of urgency, like every minute and every moment mattered. And that's how we wrote the show. And it's really weird, bro, because that was 20 years ago. Attention spans now have gotten even shorter, even shorter. And what have they done? They've expanded the matches. And listen, man, I don't need to say anything. The ratings tell the story. You could see how many people used to watch, wrestling, how many people are watching it now, and numbers don't lie, man.
I think also that your dedication to giving everyone a storyline was what made that time matter. It didn't matter if you were on the bottom of the card or the top of the card, you had a storyline. And sometimes in today's world, in a lot of organizations, they're like, top tier matters, bottom tier doesn't. With you, I think you wanted everyone to have a voice. Is that what you were going for?
Absolutely. Listen, JR was talent relations, and JR really took the time to put together an all-star roster. And when JR handed me the roster, I knew JR did his job. These are the best wrestlers in the world. I mean, that's how I looked at it. So he would give me the roster. And now as the head writer, I knew every single one of these people deserved the right to be on that roster. Now it is up to me to help them get over every way I possibly can. So to me, it didn't matter if you were on the top, in the middle, on the bottom. If you were on that roster, I was going to do everything in my power to try to get you over.
That's amazing. I think that's something that's missing in a lot of different organizations. People just sign people, and then they're like, well, what's next?
I agree. Yep.
And russosbrand.com is your website where you supply your take on current wrestling, past wrestling. So what differs your website from the other ones that are doing this kind of the same exact thing?
Bro, nobody's doing the same exact thing. And I'll tell you why. I'm not looking for a job. Okay. The last thing I want at this point in my life is to be back in wrestling full time. That is way in my rearview mirror. Those days are over. So I am not looking for a job. So I am not trying to be politically correct and trying not to ruffle feathers and watching what I say in the hopes and the prayers that maybe one day they'll call me. No, I'm being 1000% honest. There are a lot of people out there not doing that. They don't want to ruffle feathers. Maybe, you know, if I put AEW over, they'll hire me. Or maybe if I don't really say how I really feel about the WWE, you know, they'll give me a job. I've worked there already. I'm done. I work for Russo's brand right now, and my loyalty is to their customers, and I pull no punches. I don't care whose feelings get hurt. And listen, I'm not the kind of guy, like, I don't make it personal. Like when I'm talking about wrestlers, I'm talking about characters on the show. I'm not talking about them personally as individuals. I don't know the majority of them. I am just talking about, you know, their performance on a television show. And I really believe I'm about the most honest podcast you could possibly listen to.
Do you feel like people who cover wrestling, including fans, have a problem saying, well, the person in the real world did this, you know, Terry Bollea will say, and then you have Hulk Hogan, the wrestler. Is there a problem trying to cut them down the middle and say one is different from the other?
Bro, I swear there's a couple things going on that are so kabuki-ish. Number one, I am telling you, we do a show every single week on russosbrand.com called Castrating the Marks. So I am listening to clips from these dirt sheet podcasts like every single week. It's really weird, bro, because there's two things going on. Number one, I swear to you, these people have convinced themselves that wrestling is real. Yes. When you listen to their shows, bro, and they start talking, they're talking like what they're watching is real. And here's another thing that's really kabuki-ish with these sites. It's half real life and half television show. So they're constantly going in and out of fact and fiction, and I think they get completely lost. With us, bro, we review the shows as a courtesy, but bro, let me tell you, it's a 30-minute burial. We do not talk about these massive pieces of crap for hours. I am much more concerned with and interested in the business of the business, the real people of the business, the politics behind the scenes. These are the things that really interest me, not a horrible, horrible show.
Well, yeah, when I do see a 3-hour recap of a wrestling show that was only 2 hours, right, I think to myself, what is in this 3 hours that is more important than the hour and a half of commercials than the hour and a half on TV? What are you saying that needs to be 3 hours?
Bro, they love hearing themselves talk. And they're talking about nonsense. I mean, it's absolute nonsense. You know, bro, it's funny because here, I live in Colorado. The show is on from 6 to 9. I'm supposed to do a live watch along. Bro, I am not watching this show for 3 hours. So literally, bro, I start my watch along at 8:15.
Yes.
So there are 45 minutes left in the show. Bro, by 8:45, I'm caught up.
Yes.
So like I literally watched, 2 hours and 45 minutes of wrestling in like 30 minutes. That's it. That's all you need. How anybody can sit there for 3 hours and watch that show, I'll never understand it, man.
It is a hard sell. And it feels like it was only yesterday that 3 hours was put there, but it's been feels like 10. I think it's been almost 10 years now that we've had.
A long time. Yeah.
And that hurts my soul sometimes.
Yeah.
But so you mentioned that show. Who, in your opinion, is putting out the most consistently? I know there's going to be problems on all the shows, but most consistently weekly show that you're actually enjoying watching.
Bro, I only watch Raw because I get paid to watch Raw. Okay. That's it. If somebody wants to pay me to watch Dynamite, if somebody wants to pay me to SmackDown, if the offer is good enough, I'll take it. I only watch Raw because I get paid to watch Raw. And bro, I'll be honest with you. The day I stop getting paid to watch Raw, I will watch no wrestling. There is nothing about wrestling in 2020 that interests me. nothing. And the main reason being, it's not wrestling. Call it performance art, call it whatever you want. I watched wrestling from the very early 70s. And for, 40 years, I consistently watched the same presentation of what wrestling. Now, there's going to be good and bad storylines, good and bad characters, but I'm talking presentation. I'm talking format. I'm talking foundation.
Yeah.
It's not wrestling now. It's something completely different. And whatever it is, I'm not interested in it.
So are you so you're not in love with wrestling anymore? At least you were at one point in your life.
Bro, I'll be honest with you, man. I really believe my love of wrestling ended when I left WWE in 1999. I think at that point, bro, when I went to WCW and then TNA for all those years, really, bro, at that point, it was a job. It was a job. I enjoyed writing television. I was going to do the absolute best I could do. I got paid well. But I'll be honest with you, bro, for my, I left TNA in like 2012. Bro, the last 12 years of my career, it was really just a job.
Well, I think some people believe that, for instance, right now, the Sasha Banks Naomi situation, everyone believes like, oh, well, they should be treated a certain way because they work there. It's like, well, sometimes when your manager tells you to do something, you have to do it. And I don't know all the situations about that, but people don't understand that it's a job and they're getting paid to be there. If they're not getting paid to be there, they're not going to be there. And I think that's a interesting take you have about wrestling.
But also too, bro, with the talent, we get away from the fact that they are independent contractors.
Of course.
And the WWE uses that when it's convenient for them, obviously tax breaks, but when it works against them, they don't go there. The realization is, bro, with that Naomi Sasha instance, bro, I had such a respect for the talent and their craft and what they did. Bro, if Raw was on Monday, they were getting their scripts Friday at the latest. Mm-hmm. So now they had all weekend. If there was a problem or a red flag, that's settled before we ever get to the building. Out of professional courtesy, bro, you don't give them their job for the night when they walk in the door. That is very unprofessional. And you got to remember, under a contract as independent contractor, if this is the job we want you to do tonight and you don't agree with that job or you don't like that job, you have the right to say no. They're independent contractors. No, I'm not. This is what you want me to do tonight. I'm not going to take this job tonight. I'm not going to do it. But if they had their stuff together, because bro, the structure is broken. The system is broken. Yes. If you paid them the proper respects and got them the show by Friday, this would never happen because you would know well ahead of time that they had a problem with something that was written. Then you discuss it, then you talk it out. By the time you show up on Monday, you know what's on the show.
Yeah. I interviewed Cameron, former tag team partner of Naomi, and she mentioned she talked to Naomi Thursday before that Friday you're talking about leading into Monday where this whole thing happened. And Naomi was very upset. This is through Cameron. Naomi was very upset, didn't want to do what she was told to do, but yet that was the end of that conversation. So clearly there was something going on Thursday that led into the weekend, which led into Monday. And of course, nobody knows the true story besides Sasha Banks and Naomi as of right now, obviously, because there's a campaign out there trying to, I don't know, erase them from our minds. And,
well, I know how that game works, and I don't play that game. I was responsible, bro, for treating the talent as professionals, giving them a heads up, letting them know what they were doing, why they were doing it, where it was going, and most importantly, getting their input and working together and making them feel like the part of a process. I never said to a talent, no, you're doing this tonight, whether you like it or not. It doesn't work that way. It's a two-way street. And I think that's why that era was so successful.
Now, the suggestions that were given to you by wrestlers, you accepted them as, okay, that's a good idea or a bad idea, versus no, shush, quiet, I write this, you do that.
Bro, everything with me, I swear to God, everything with me comes down to logic. As the head writer of the show, I'm writing for 50 characters, okay? These individual characters, they're just thinking about their character 24/7. So, of course, when they come to me with something regarding their character, they're helping me because I am trying to come up with creative for 50 people. They're just totally zeroing in on them. So now when they come to me, I appreciate that because the reality of it is they put much more thought into their character than I was able to because I got 50 characters. So the fact that you would not take that input it's really just beyond me, man. I'll never understand that.
Is it more of a ego situation?
Absolutely. It's a control. It's a control situation. You're going to do what we say, whether you like it or not. And if you don't, you can leave, but once you leave here, you're never going to amount to anything because without this machine behind us, you're nothing. That's what they brainwash you of, and that's what they convince you of, and that's how they get you to do some terrible, terrible stuff. And, to me, with the Naomi Sasha thing, just kind of reading between the lines, this wasn't a one incident. This was happening over a period of time, and they weren't getting any level of satisfaction. And I think it just got to a breaking point.
Right. Again, I interviewed Sasha Banks as well, and I asked her, well, were you supposed to fight Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania versus win the tag team titles? And she kind of avoided a slightly, but it seemed like, again, I talked to another person, and they said Ronda Rousey was a last-minute thing. So all these plans were thrown out the window. Sasha versus Charlotte WrestleMania, the Funkadactyls possibly going into WrestleMania to win the women's tag team titles. So all these situations turned into, oh, by the way, you're getting these women's tag team titles. I'm sorry, what? And they haven't been treated well. If you've noticed, if you obviously watch, the weeks for months and years of these tag team titles have never been something people thought of.
Bro, I'm telling you, we were structured. Monday we did this, Tuesday we did this, Wednesday we did this. We had a structure. Every day it was the same structure. Bro, when we got to that building on Monday and we walked into that building with the show, that was the show.
Yes.
Nothing changed. If anything was going to change on that show, it would have happened beforehand, after discussion. Once we were at the building, bro, nothing changed. And we were able, bro, to, know what we were doing, follow through, dot I's, cross T's. When I watch the show now, there is no question in my mind, bro, they're writing this show 3:00 the day of. And what happens when you're doing that, bro, is the details out the window, man.
Yeah.
Out the window, because you don't have time to pay attention to the details. When you're looking at this show all week long and you know the show inside and out, that's when you can really refine it through the details. Nothing's getting lost in the shuffle. Nothing's falling through the cracks. But working on it and changing things the day of, you're going to get the show that we're seeing.
And it's quite obvious that some characters are thought of as a last minute addition, as in, I'll bring up one situation. Lacey Evans on SmackDown was putting out these promos saying she had a terrible upbringing and her father was abusive and alcoholic, all that. And out of nowhere, she shows up on Raw and was like, hey, everybody, I'm mean. And it's like, I'm sorry. For weeks, I thought we were supposed to be sympathetic to you in your upbringing, and now you're bad. And we're supposed to boo you?
Happens all the time. And that's why it's happening. That's why it's happening, because they are constantly changing things up until the wire. They don't have time to make sure the details are in order. So now the viewer at home is exactly in the seat that you're sitting in, saying exactly what you just said. 1,000% correct.
And so I hope, though, with this Roman Reigns title run, that we get a actual finish and a conclusion, because this has been quite a run for him as champion. And so in your personal opinion, who do you think should actually beat Roman Reigns and end this, and where should it end?
Bro, it's so hard to say that because I don't think that person is there. And I'll tell you why I don't think that person is there, because if you look at every single person on the roster, bro, it's 50-50 booking. Yes. It's 1-1, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. How is a 50-50 win and loss guy going to beat a guy believably that hasn't been beaten in a couple of years? I mean, the formula would be you'd have your champion, you'd have your Bruno, you'd have your Hulk Hogan, you'd have your Austin, you'd have your champion, and then you would have this guy coming along that was untouchable, and he's not losing any matches, and he's winning every match, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, could this guy be a threat to Hogan? And all of a sudden, now you have the Andre Hulk match. Oh my God, who's going to win this? But when Roman Reigns is wrestling a guy that's 50-50, I'm going to believe that guy could beat Roman Reigns. So quite frankly, the person isn't there. I mean, there's nobody in that company at this point that could believably beat him. Wow.
Yeah, it seems that all eyes are pointing towards Clash at the Castle with Drew McIntyre beating Roman in the 80,000 arena. Because of that spectacle and the visual of all that, it makes sense for the visuals. But yes, you are right.
They've done the same booking with Drew. I mean, they've done that same exact booking with Drew. Drew lost a lot of matches he shouldn't have lost, and quite frankly, if it were real, he wouldn't have lost. Yeah. But he could have been that guy. But man, they beat him too, bro, and people don't forget that.
No, this is true. It's hard to forget these things. Let's move on to Cody Rhodes. Recently departed AEW, joining up with WWE at WrestleMania, and everyone, of course, is now speculating who could be the next one to jump. They're going back to the Monday Night Wars. So, AEW wrestlers, who could be the next one to eventually go? I think I might go to the WWE.
Man, bro, I don't know, but I got to tell you something, bro. Like, I don't think it matters.
No,
the same people are watching both shows. The same. There's only a niche audience watching wrestling right now. So everybody jumping back and forth, it's not going to move the needle. It's not going to bring in Cody Rhodes going to the WWE, and he was arguably the top star at AEW. That didn't add one more viewer to WWE programming. Not one. The numbers are the exact same. So the reality of it is, like, why are we going to talk about this? What difference is it going to make? I mean, literally, if MJF went to Raw tomorrow, what difference does it make? People not watching Raw and not watching AEW are not going to suddenly tune in to see this MJF character. The same people are watching these shows, man. It's the same audience. So, again, bro, listen, it's all about money. It's all about dollars and cents. And I'm sure people are going to jump back and forth, but it's not going to make a difference.
I'm going to say the difference might be the merchandise sales, as in Cody Rhodes jumped over. They had like 5 shirts waiting for him with WWE logos on the arm.
Bro, no question about it. From a business point of view, they'll be able to capitalize on that. Like you said, merch, maybe more people who go to house shows, buy house show tickets. Yeah. But I'm talking about really growing that bottom line that I think both companies desperately need to grow. That's not going to do it, man.
Is that why you think wrestling is always called upon celebrities to come on in, to bring in? If you're a fan of Logan Paul, those Logan Paul fans might jump on and watch WrestleMania, and then some might stick around.
And they don't. And they don't because you don't hook them. You don't hook them. That's why they don't stay around. Bro, using Bad Bunny and using all that stuff is a great business ploy if you hook those extra viewers when they tune in, but they never do. They never hook them. As a matter of fact, I think they do the complete opposite. And now all of a sudden they see somebody they're fans of and they really admire, and wait a minute, they're on this stupid wrestling show? Literally, I think that's what they do. Bro, listen, we would know. We would know after WrestleMania, you're going to get a huge audience. And we would do everything, bro, to grab that audience. These were potential new viewers. It wasn't a one and done. And bro, for the last 20 years, you could look at the numbers. Huge number Monday after WrestleMania. The following week, they're right back where they started because they didn't grab those new viewers.
So possibly the attraction of wrestling is just kind of the going, I'm not really interested, because everyone watched it once in life. I think everyone's watched wrestling at least once. Bro,
the wrestling business has killed the wrestling business. They've done it to themselves. They have killed their own business. And the reason for it, bro, is they live in this wrestling bubble. I always called it the wrestling bubble.
Yeah.
And bro, time has passed them by. Time has gone so far past wrestling. And the key to that is they're out of touch with reality.
Yes.
These wrestling shows should be based off of reality, not fake, unbelievable wrestling fights where wrestlers are the only ones that talk like wrestlers. People in real life don't talk like that. They don't act like that. Bro, right now, if I'm writing the show, you damn bet Naomi and Sasha, that situation is part of the show. You know it's part of the show. The backdrop of these shows should be the reality of these shows and what's really going on. But no, bro, it's bad, fake, unbelievable wrestling. I can't even say wrestling stories, bro. There are no stories. Everybody just wants to fight each other. I mean, there's no stories. We all show up at this building on Monday and we're all going to fight because it's Monday and we're wrestlers and that's what we do. And then on Tuesday morning, we're going to go back to our homes and we're going to gather back on Monday and do the same exact thing. There's no stories. There's no characters. Everybody's fighting because it's wrestling.
You know, I think you said earlier that you're telling the truth and how you feel, and honest to God, you're kind of speaking right to my heart and my brain, because you're saying exactly what a lot of people are thinking. Who it feels like sometimes wrestling, you're in an abusive relationship where you love it so much, but you're like, please stop hurting me because I need stories that matter, but you don't give them to me.
Bro, do you want to hear something that will blow you away? I kind of felt this, but I wasn't sure. I had to find out for my own, right? Bro, I do these polls on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I did a poll the other day. And the question was, why do you still watch Raw? And there are I gave three reasons. Okay. Number one, because I enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Number two, because out of habit. Mm. And number three, because I'm waiting for it to get better. Mm. Those were the three reasons. Bro, like over 3,000 people answered this poll. Bro, do you know only 15% of them said they watch it because they enjoy it? The other 85% watch it out of habit or are waiting for it to get there. So, bro, you've literally got people watching a television show where only 15% of the audience likes the show. I never heard of anything like that in my life. They're watching it and only 15% of your audience likes the show. Is that not mind-blowing or what, bro?
It slightly reminds me of The Simpsons, where people were like, oh, the first 10 years of The Simpsons were the best. And people are still watching, hoping that those first 10 years will appear in today's world.
Yes, and they're never coming back. It's not coming back, man. Man,
that's you've opened my eyes and made me a little sad at the same time.
Bro, it blew my mind. You've got what, 1.5, 2 million people watching this show, and only 15% of them actually are enjoying it. That's crazy, man.
Right. It's funny though, when you leave Twitter and you go to a live show, and like I've sat in different, front row, back row, balcony, and you sit everywhere, and the feeling in the arena is not the angry Twitter people saying, I don't like this show, because they paid their hard-earned money. Their parents either brought their kids there or they paid their money and went there, and they're buying the drinks and the merchandise and the shirts. They have their signs up and they're enjoying themselves. They're having a blast. You think anyone sitting around at a live show being like, can you believe this person's storyline doesn't make sense to me? But on Twitter, and I agree, in my brain, I feel that way. But when I'm live, it's suddenly this feeling takes over and I'm like, I'm booing the bad guys. I'm cheering the good guys. It's completely different.
Bro, those are the 85% that are watching it out of habit and waiting for it to get better. I mean, that's their audience, bro. So of course, if you're going to go to a live show, first of all, you bought a ticket, you're excited about going to the show, bro. It's like, I say this all the time. It's like, bro, any concert you go to, it could be the worst concert in the world. If you're there, you're going to say it was great, and it's going to feel like it was great because you're there, and the anticipation and the excitement. But I just got to tell you, bro, I can't, like, when the Monday Night Raw shows have just become house shows. They're not television shows anymore. They're just filming a house show. And when I see like the main event of all these shows, I'm like, I can't imagine the people went home happy. Like, I'm sure some did, but I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Is that
but
what the dark match? Do you think that's what the dark match is for? To send you home happy?
Absolutely. Yeah. Which blows my mind, bro, because a lot of the times they'll have the biggest stars there and on the dark match, and they won't put them on TV. Which, like, what? Wait, Roman was there? Like, unbelievable to me, man.
I did go to a house show, like a Raw, and no, it was a SmackDown, and the match at the end, the dark match, was Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes, and they both weren't on the actual show.
Does that make sense to you?
No, because for me as an adult with kids, I have to get up early with my young ones. So as soon as the real show was over, I booked it out of the building to beat the traffic. Versus the other scheme, they want me to be like, oh, you should stay and watch this. I'm sorry, I can't.
Doesn't make
I won't.
That doesn't make sense to me. You've got them in the building and you're not going to use them on the show. I don't know.
Do you think that AEW could ever go on a dominance just like WCW did and kind of become number one, or is it's never going to be possible to beat the WWE as the brand? You think of soda, people think of Coca-Cola. That brand.
And that's why they make billions of dollars every year, man. Yeah. Bro, listen, I rip the product to shreds. Bro, the business end of it is completely different. People don't understand. It's two completely different things. You can actually have a company making billions of dollars with a horrible current product. And there's a million reasons why. Bro, what they're doing on the business end, Nick Khan, the deals that they're making, the selling of their brand, the selling of all the social media impressions. And really, bro, let's be honest. They're not selling the current product. They're selling their reputation. They're selling the 50 years built in. They do an unbelievable job, bro. They can print money. But the TV show still stinks. And that's what I say all the time. Bro, what would they be making if the product was actually good? Like, seriously, what kind of money would you be making if this was Attitude Era type programming?
You bring that up as a really good point, because when I was a kid during the Attitude Era, I would go to, like, say, a gas station. Inside that gas station, there were DX shirts they were selling, NWO shirts they were selling. I would never find a wrestling shirt inside of a gas station now.
Yep. Exactly.
It was like a goddamn Beanie Baby. Like,
bro,
everyone.
I swear to God, I was shocked the other day. I was seriously shocked. Bro, when I go to Walmart, the first section I always look for is the clearance section, those big yellow signs, clearance. I always go there first. Bro, they had Roman Reigns action figures in the clearance section. I could not believe it. I could understand if AEW or like lesser WWE, they had Roman Reigns action figures in the clearance center at Walmart. And I'm like, wow, bro, like, that's a far cry from what it used to be.
Yes. Again, you bring up the business side of wrestling. When Peacock paid $1 billion for 5 years of content to allow their live events and their back catalog, most of it, that allowed even myself to get a show on NBC because I pitched, hey, did you see we spent $1 billion on this? Why don't we capitalize? I'll talk to wrestlers. I'll talk to past stars. I'll talk to everybody. And they're like, got it. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And bro, social media, all those social media outlets and the hits and the downloads. I mean, that's worth huge money to programmers, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. And let's talk about so you have a few books though too. One I love stumbling upon doing research was how WCW killed Vince Russo. And I did a little more research, and I have read the book by Guy Evans about the death of WCW, and he interviewed executives, he interviewed everybody underneath the sun about this, and it comes to the conclusion that people who try to blame you, which makes no sense to me, on the death of WCW, do you feel like you still get this like stigma of like, oh, you're the one who killed it?
Yeah, by idiots.
Right. Because how does that make sense? You came in when it was on the down low.
Bro, exactly. Bro, to believe that a writer, because bro, at the end of the day, I was the writer of the show. I had nothing to do with business decisions. I had nothing to do with who got hired. I got nothing to do with who got paid. I just wrote the show. To actually believe that a writer could put a multi-million-dollar, like you've literally got to be a brainless moron to actually believe that, bro.
Like, do you think people have been brainwashed over the years with the Wrestling Observer?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. Absolutely, bro. But listen, man, as much as I think Dave Meltzer is a joke, and I could say that is an educated comment because I listen to his remarks every week. Mm-hmm. Every week's on Castrating the Marks. We got Meltzer clips, tweets, and the stuff that comes out of this guy's mouth is just unbelievable to me. However, bro, the guy's made himself a millionaire doing what he does. So, like, I give him all the credit. He has somehow convinced people that even though I've never really been in the business and I've never worked in the business, I know more about the business than anybody else, to the point that he actually has wrestlers that care about how he rates their match. Bro, I am a huge baseball mark. It would be the equivalent of Bryce Harper caring about what I say about his swing. Like Vince Russo never played in the major leagues, right. But Bryce, I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong. And Bryce Harper is actually going to care. Bro, you've got pro wrestlers that care about what this guy says. That is the most bizarre thing in the world to me, bro. He's never wrestled a match. Like, what? Why do you care what his that's his opinion as a fan, bro. He's a glorified wrestling fan who has sat there and watched thousands of matches. I've watched thousands of baseball games. I'm not going to tell Bryce Harper how to adjust his swing, bro. I'm not a moron.
Yes. Yes, there are plenty of people in the world who say, oh, well, I read so many comic books, so I should tell you how to make a Marvel movie.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, people don't understand. I was there, man. And those that weren't there, bro, you have no idea. You can't even imagine what that world is like because, bro, it really is the wrestling bubble. And the real world, bro, does not relate inside that bubble.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I think over the years, people have I don't know why people use you as an scapegoat for anything they have negative about the past. It seems that they grab onto your name and use it to drag it down.
Bro, this is what it is. They could say whatever they want. Here's what drives them crazy. They can't erase the numbers, bro.
Right.
They can't erase the numbers, bro. When I'm long dead, you're going to go back and see in 1997, 98, 99, Raw was drawing 8 million viewers, whatever the heck. They can't erase those numbers. No matter what they say, they can't. And it drives them crazy because you could say whatever you want about me. And all I have to say is, well, the numbers tell a much different story. They can't deal with that, bro. Bro, that audience, the internet, they can't deal in facts.
No.
They once you, bro, that's why, like, do you know how many times these people have been invited on my show? Dave Meltzer, every single one of them. They refuse to have a conversation with me. Why? Because I'm going to use facts, bro. I'm going to say, you know, Dave, you said this, that, and the other thing about the show. Well, this show drew 8 million people. So obviously you were the minority. That's your opinion, but obviously the masses, they can't deal in reality and they can't deal in numbers, bro. And that's why they won't have a conversation with me.
I think that anyone can take a number and twist it to their advantage, and that's the unfortunate part when they try to bring you up, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, what about the brawl for real?" It's like, and I think I've heard you on Dark Side of the Ring saying, like, we're here 20 years later, still talking about it.
Right? Exactly.
So, hello, there's been plenty of storylines that no one even mentions ever again that at the time were terrible, but here we are, 20 years, 30 years, brawl for all, and like you said, the Attitude Era. People still talk about it being the greatest time in professional wrestling. And guess what? You were there writing the shows weekly, but yet people are still going to try to be like, well, it wasn't, it wasn't him. Like, what do you mean it wasn't him? It was him.
Right. Yeah, no, bro. I've gotten to the point now, bro, where like it has just gotten so old, and at the end of the day, they're going to believe and think whatever they want to think and believe. And like I said, bro, all anybody has to do is see the numbers that those shows did, the amount of people that were watching, and that's really the end of the story, bro. And like I said, it's a different industry today. It's not wrestling, bro. Did you watch Raw last night?
Yes.
I've never seen this in 50 years. Never seen this in 50 years. The show ends with the baby face crying in the ring because the heel just beat her.
Right.
A baby face is crying. Bro, that's like Rocky Balboa after he loses to Creed, falling to his knees and crying. And so now you got to ask yourself the question, why was Asuka crying? First of all, she's still in the match. Right. The match was to determine whether Becky was in or not. So Becky wins the match. Asuka's still in the match.
Right.
Why is she crying? This is what I'm talking about, bro. I never saw, when Bruno lost to superstar Billy Graham, he was not crying in the middle of the ring. I've never seen this before in my life. And I'm watching this and I'm like, whatever this is, it ain't wrestling, bro. So, like, call it whatever you want. Baby faces don't cry when they lose to heels. You know why? That makes them cry babies. You don't want your baby faces to be crying. Bro, it's bizarro world, man. It's bizarro world.
You did bring up a good point, though. It's like she lost. She's upset. Okay. But yet you're still in the championship match. It's not like you didn't lose your contendership for the title at Hell in a Cell. You're still in that match. And so why care that you lost so hard? Maybe someone must have said, hey, I want to see if Asuka can cry on cue.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of direction she was given, bro, but it was another one of those raw moments where I'm like, is she crying? And if so, why? I don't know.
I did see you make some headlines today about that comment. And again, people just, again, dragging you into the, hey, he said something, let's tear it apart.
I could care less, bro. When I'm watching a wrestling show after 50 years and I don't understand something's wrong, bro. Something's wrong.
There is something wrong. One final question, though, I always ask to everybody, what are your goals for the year? So much has already happened, but like, do you have any personal goals you want to accomplish?
Nah, bro, what I did recently was I was doing, bro, I've been podcasting for 8 years, bro, here's the funny thing. I love this. I mean, you're seeing me in my office now, bro. This is it. I have my own schedule. I'm usually done by noon. I live in Colorado. At noon, I could go get in my Jeep with the roof down, drive around the mountains, like literally loving life.
Yes.
I'm my boss. I make good money. There's no politics, nothing. But yet, bro, I'm still reading stories about how I'm calling the WWE every day, begging Vince McMahon for a job. And you know what that is, bro? I'll tell you exactly what that is. Because I think about these things and I'm like, I am so happy and so content with where I am right now. Bro, I swear to you, if I went back and worked for the WWE full-time and Vince McMahon, bro, I am not bullshitting you. They would find me dead in my hotel room. I'm not kidding you. I would die. I would die on the job. So I have to ask myself, like, what is the fixation with Vince is doing his own podcasting for 8 years. He's relaxed. He's loving life. He's his own boss. He's making money. But yet he's begging to go back to the WWE. And, bro, what it really comes down to is those, again, hardcore marks, they have such a dream of, like, one day working for the W. Like, they think it's freaking Oz, bro. Like, I don't know what. It's Mecca. It's paradise. They have such a dream and a vision of working for that company that when somebody like me says, bro, that's the last place in the world I'd want to work at this point in my life. Oh, he's got to be lying. You know he's dying to go back and work for Vince McMahon in the WWE. He's got to be lying. No, bro, I've been there and done that, and I have no interest in doing it again. But it's their vision of, oh my God, bro, like that is the dream job. You know he's got to be wanting to go back to that. It's bizarro land, man. It is the whole business is bizarro land.
It's funny you bring that up because here's a perfect example of what you just said. You're enjoying life, and if you went back, you'd find yourself dead in a hotel room. If you ever listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast before he got hired by the WWE again, sounded like he was loving life, sounded awake, sounded like he was having the best time of his life talking to Conrad every week about the past. Once he got brought back in, it slowly happened, but eventually it sounds like someone was like, hey, wake up. You have to do a podcast right now. So he's like, hey, welcome to my show.
Look at Eric. Look at Eric. And me, this is why me and Eric are very close when it comes to this. Bro, Eric was living in a ranch on Wyoming. Yep. He would have breakfast on his back porch, wildlife. What, bro, and Eric loves Wyoming like I love Colorado. Bro, he tried, and bro, let me tell you something. This is Eric that loves wrestling 1,000 times more than I do. I hate wrestling. Eric still loves it. Bro, he tried to go back there. In a week, Eric was like, what the frig did I do? Bro, like seriously, I mean, the thought of me ever walking back into that is, it's so beyond reality, bro. It isn't funny, man. But again, bro, he's gotta want to go back there, bro, because he just has to.
Because I gotta say, you bring up a good point on Eric Bischoff's podcast. The same thing kind of happened to him, just like with Bruce. But luckily, Eric on his podcast said he didn't sell his house. Yeah,
because he knew, bro. Eric knew. Bro, I'm telling you, Eric knew before it even happened, but he was going to try it anyway. But yeah, bro, that's exactly what would happen.
Well, Vince Russo, thank you so much for answering my questions today on NBC's 10 Count. I'm so glad to have a chat with you because, again, I've probably said it 1,000 times, but I'll say it again. I do not like it. I'm disgusted by it that you constantly are brought into the negative side of wrestling when in reality, the memories that we all have growing up with Austin, Rock, DX, Taker, were supplied by you.
Yeah.
And the talent working with you. So people always seem to bring up the negative part of it.
And what's my end game and what's my goal, bro? And why do I talk the way I do? Real simple, bro. I want 10 million people to be watching wrestling again. Okay. And you know what? If I'm the enemy because I want 10 million people to be watching wrestling again instead of 1 million, then I'm the enemy, bro. Then if that's what you want to believe, but that's what it's all about, bro. Bro, when I was writing the Attitude Era, my goal was Vince, I want people to see what you see in this business. I want you to be able to get as many eyeballs as possible. I want them to be able to enjoy this the way you do. I'm saying the same thing today. You can draw the masses. You can still do it, but first of all, they don't know how. And second of all, things drastically need to change if you ever want to go back to those kind of numbers again.
We'll have to see what the future holds, but all I know is I had a great day talking to Vince Russo. Remember, russosbrand.com. You can check out all of his work there, folks. Thank you so much again, Vince, for being here. I could talk about wrestling with you to the end of time, but I don't want to keep you forever unless you want to. No, I'm just kidding. I won't keep you forever. Change to the ground. Again, thanks for being here. I've been Steve Fall. He's been Vince Russo. Thanks for watching another episode of NBC's 10 Count. Have a great one. Bye.